November 29th, 2006. It was a beautiful, unseasonably warm Wednesday, and I had just spent 2 days in Columbus, Ohio for business, and I'm racing back south on I-71 to Louisville, and I got the sunroof open, and the sun is streaming in, and I got the music turned up entirely too loud. And really the two words that could describe me on that day were giddy and doomed. I'm giddy because I'm 40 and I have a date that night back in Louisville. And I'm doomed because I'm completely unqualified to have a date that night. As I said, I was 40 and I was recently divorced from my wife of 15 years, who was my college sweetheart, and literally the first person that I dated in college. And so we had been together our entire adult lives. So if you can get past sort of the emotional baggage that I'm hauling around at the time, you can't escape the fact that I haven't had a date since the Reagan administration. But never fear, this is why they invented Match.com. Because Match.com is how recently divorced, socially inept people meet. And so my match date for that night is Fireball. That's not her real name. That was her match handle. And I'd been around long enough to know that she was really almost too good to be true, or it seemed like. She was smart, she was funny, she was confident, she was attractive, and apparently she was really punctual, because she showed up at exactly 7 o'clock that night at the Bristol for drinks, and I knew, punctual, I'm in love. And really that night began our storybook romance, because within a year, Fireball and I were married. And within a year, Fireball and I were divorced. But I don't want to make fun of, it's funny, yeah, but it really, honestly, was the two most painful, traumatic years of my life, and probably of her life. And honestly, we should have known better. I mean, really, we should have known better. But barring that, we should have at least paid attention to the signs that were sent from the gods telling us to stop and turn back. And the most obvious of these signs came on our first date that night, which by all accounts was the perfect first date. Drinks turned into dinner, and then dinner turned into dessert, and then the wait staff got impatient with us, so we left the restaurant and we walked around the corner to Heine Brothers to get coffee that night, and it was still a beautiful, warm night. So we brought our coffee out to those concrete tables, really comfortable concrete tables, and we sat down, and no sooner had we sat down than we both spotted them in the middle of the table. 3 perfectly intact, hollow-tipped bullets. Just sitting there. Now, a normal, rational human being would have seen the bullets for what they were, which was an unmistakable sign of impending disaster. But we were crazy. We were desperate for this relationship, or any relationship, to work. And so we turned those bullets into a good omen. And for our entire 2-year relationship, we lived by the theme of the 3 bullets. We wrote poems about the bullets. We wrote stories about the bullets. They were even published in a Valentine's Day magazine. At our wedding, we had frosting shaped like bullets on the cake. I even commissioned a glass blower to create special champagne flutes in the shape of a bullet for our wedding. But the best gift was one Christmas, one of the 2 Christmases, I went to a jeweler, and I took one of the 3 bullets, and I was going to turn it into a charm for a charm bracelet, and I was going to have it inscribed with the date that we first met. And the jeweler looked at me like I was crazy, and he told me, "You need to leave now." And so I went to 5 other jewelers, and finally the 5th jeweler, he at least had pity on me, and he said, You should take that to a custom jeweler, which is basically an artist, because they do shit like that. And he gave me the name of somebody that he knew, and I met this guy. It was actually a father and son team, and they had a garage on a back alley, and I was a little scared, but he was a big, affable, friendly, gregarious guy, and he meets me at the garage, and he kind of rolls the bullet around in his hand, and he surprises me, and when he says, well, sure, we'll do it. Give me a week. So I go back in a week, and this guy meets me there, and he is giddy. He's like excited about this, and it's beautiful. He's done an amazing job on this charm. But what he's really excited about is that it's one of a kind. He's never made anything like it before, and he assures me he'll never make anything like it again. And I thought that was a funny comment, and I was going to ask him why, but he volunteered. He says, well, there was a bit of an incident. You see, before we could engrave it, we had to take it apart to take the powder out. And, well, when we did that, it kind of exploded. And I said, oh, my God. He said, but he stopped me, and he said, no regrets. What's the saying? Whatever doesn't kill me just makes me stronger. And at that moment, as I'm nodding, I look up, and I see the sun, and the right side of his face is red and blistered, and he's missing an eyebrow and most of his hair on this side of the head. And I'm like, oh my God. But he was right. It didn't kill him. And so those 2 years did not kill me. In fact, I think I really needed those years. I got smarter and I got stronger as a result of those 2 years. So Fireball, if you're out there, I don't regret a single day. Because I'm smarter and I'm stronger. And if I had it all to do over again, I'm smart enough to say, hell no.